Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Dr. Pazos. Welcome back to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you back. You were here. Oh my gosh, it's been 6 months. It doesn't seem like it, but you're. I know. My God. I mean, I feel like the older I get, and I told you just before the interview, I'm about to be 53, and I was like, what, another year? Yeah, but I think I've heard it said that as you get older, it seems like the years pass by quicker. And of course, with the craziness of the world, I think it's a little bit quicker than usual. But we're going to talk about how people can protect their skin and their body with the importance of antioxidant in your skincare. And, you know, it'll just totally enhance the life of your skin and your body, because the skin is the biggest organ. And I don't think people realize when you put stuff in your skin, it goes into your bloodstream.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily always go. So, well, first of all, thank you, Christina. It's a pleasure to be back. I am so happy. I also can't believe that it's been so long and the summer has gone by so quickly. And the summer is actually, I love that we are going to talk about these topics today, because if there is a time where we need antioxidants is now to recover from the damage that we may have done in the summertime. It's always so much more difficult in the summertime to properly follow those steps that take you to better health, better care, better overall awareness of your body, because you're having fun, you're on vacation, and we take vacation from absolutely everything, not just the job, also all those routine things that we necessarily don't like to do. But if there is one thing I would love our listeners to leave with today, is the fact that skincare is not always an investment in you. It's actually also a lot of fun. If you can take it as fun, you have so much more done. So let's talk a little bit about aging and oxidation. So oxidation is just regular metabolism that happens. Biological reactions are constantly happening in your body. And sometimes actually there's certain elements that will either accelerate those oxidation reactions or make more happen, or actually will create other ones. And in other cases too, these reactions this oxidation is not even an oxidation reaction per se, but the side reactions of certain biological processes that happen in your body will create oxidants, right? So let's go to the skin. The skin is not only our biggest organ, it's also the one that tells how old we are, that tells how healthy we are, and that it reflects absolutely everything on you. And the secret to continuously be healthier, I see your poochies out there. I like it. The secret to continuously protect those cells, that skin against the possible effects of oxidants, is to use antioxidants, right? It makes sense. So think about oxidants as these very, I wouldn't necessarily call them damaging molecules, because they are not necessarily that, but they tend to trap everything. They are very reactive, and they tend to latch onto whatever they can, right? Because they are so reactive. And one of the first principles that we learn in chemistry is that for a reaction to happen, the reactants have to be much more energetic than the product. So these are extremely energetic molecules, right? They want to react with something. And instead of having them react with your cells, with whatever molecules are in your cells, the collagen is actually one of the ones that they can latch onto and degrade it. So if you put kind of like this, so think about antioxidants as these little warriors that are like in your cells, that they are like, okay, instead of going there, they are sacrificing themselves for the health of your cells. So that's the way I actually put them. And I explained it to kids like that one time. And actually that was a lot easier for kids to understand as well, right? So think about that you're putting in your regime, you're putting these little warriors with like their swords and everything they need to protect you, and they are going to sacrifice themselves for your own benefit in the end.
Wow. Now, besides skin care product, is there things like certain nutrition or foods that can help, and outside things besides products that can also help the care of your skin?
Of course. So everything, I mean, we talked about antioxidants all the time in food. We talk about antioxidants in skin. And even though it's hard to correlate directly what you eat with the health of your skin, one thing is very true, that when you eat better, when you exercise, when you sleep well, that is so important too. Your skin will show, because all those metabolism reactions that are happening in your organism are tend to be less damaging, are tend to produce less damaging side products. So that will reflect on your skin. When you drink a lot of water, I always say, drinking a lot of water will probably not help with the hydration of your skin, but your skin will restore, and that will indirectly actually help with everything in your skin, including hydration, because your body tends to be able to restore every cell, every tissue, every bone better.
You know, it's interesting. I was taking an aqua class where we were doing aerobics in the pool. But what was interesting when I came out of the pool, you know, because you're doing this kind of heavy moving in the pool with light weights, I came out and people were like, your skin looks amazing. And I think somehow being in the salt water, because it was salt water mixed with, they would put some magnesium. What's that stuff you put when you take a bath?
Magnesium sulfate, Epsom salt.
Boom. Yes. Yes, they would put that in the aqua pool.
Yeah.
And I would come out and everyone would be like, oh my gosh, your skin looks amazing. You look amazing. And something, I think, being in the water and whatever, I think it was just lifting my skin up.
Oh yeah. It promotes the circulation. It allows more blood flow. It allows more of the restoration. And if you eat well, your blood will take those little products of the of digestion, you know, the good foods, they will get everywhere. So your cells will be more likely to keep healthy and well restored, and they will get more restoration as well. So eat a lot of vitamins, right? And also drink wine. We know about phenolics.
Well,
Yeah.
I know a lot of listeners, especially my female listeners, love that glass of wine. But what is too much for the skin? Because I'm guessing there's a sweet spot that you don't want to just grab a whole bottle of red wine.
No.
What's this?
You may want to bake in it.
Oh my, really? I've heard about that. How is that helpful? Putting it, like bathing it, is it really helpful to your skin?
I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. I was about to get a bunch of bottles.
There is a tutorial portion of it, right? But always, you know, like I say with skin, I say the same with nutrition and with how much you can tolerate. You have to know how much you can tolerate. You have to know how much is too much. If two glasses of wine for you make you sleep well, you feel great, you don't wake up with a headache, and your skin looks great, so 2 glasses is good for you. If 2 glasses, you wake up feeling groggy and like you can't perform the day after, so maybe that's a bit too much for you. I believe that a bottle is pretty much a lot for everybody, right?
Yeah. But you know what's interesting, Dr. Pazos, is that I think people don't realize that everyone's body is different. And I was just hearing a doctor speak yesterday on a podcast saying that, you know, everyone responds to alcohol differently. Me, I have a glass of wine and I'm kaput, at least for that day. I'm out, I have to go to bed. And the next day, sometimes I even get a headache from any type of alcohol. So
exactly.
I guess my tolerance is just really, really low, but other people could do a couple glasses and be fine. So I guess everyone, you know, you just have to pay attention to your
everyone
body.
is different. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Spain originally. I think we have it in our blood to have the high tolerance to wine. But I'll tell you what, I can drink 1 beer at a stadium and I am out. I'm like, I don't know how I got drunk, but I did with just a glass of beer, which is one of those very cheap, very watered down beer. I don't know. So it really depends. It depends on the person, and also in that sense, I would also recommend to choose the antioxidants that work for you and for your skin. So let's go through a little bit of a list for people to look for what they need, right? So what I call the basic is vitamin C. In vitamin C, we hear about it both for, you know, for good consumption. So eat your oranges, have a ton of leafy greens and all those things that are going to give you vitamin C, right? So the same for the skin. Vitamin C is not only an antioxidant, but it's also brightening. So it tends to lighten up like maybe those spots that have been a consequence of skin damage. They don't have to be necessarily sun, but as we age, spots tend to also show up because of hyperpigmentation, because our melanin is constantly trying to protect our skin. So even if we're exposed to a little bit of sun, we tend to produce more melanin, and that will give hyperpigmentation. So
can I stop you real quick?
Sure.
I've had some people after pregnancy who have maybe darker skin that said, after my pregnancy, I started to get this hyperpigmentation, and they weren't in the sun. Does something about hormones also cause that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I am, and I feel so bad for people that have to go through those hyperpigmentation due to hormone effect. But for that, let me tell you, look for products, or just contact me, go to my website, and I'll be happy to speak with you. Look for kojic acid, alpha-arbutin, and ferulic acid. All of those in combination are actually fantastic, because it's kind of like this sweet spot of, it controls the melanin growth. It actually prevents the melanin to grow in the first place. And then on top of that, you have the ferulic acid, which is an antioxidant. And in the case that there's going to be some skin degradation, which is what a spot is, it will control that before it even happens. So those three things are fantastic. And let me also tell you one thing about vitamin C. I heard a lot of people talk about vitamin C, like you shouldn't put it before you expose yourself to the sun, because it may cause some sort of skin discoloration. That is a myth. And I don't know if it comes up from, when we used to do this lemon juice, that then you burn it. Yeah. I honestly, I believe that the thought comes from that, and absolutely nothing like that happening on the skin. In fact, put a vitamin C serum before you hit the sun, because it will prevent hyperpigmentation. So it's the actual opposite.
Awesome. That's great.
Right, so and also drink your vitamins, drink your vitamins, eat your vitamins. A lot of people prefer to eat them because they have the fiber. So anyway, do whatever. Again, you gotta learn what is best for your body, but definitely vitamin C. Mm-hmm. Then there is a couple of similar, I wouldn't call it similar, definitely not chemically, but they are also antioxidants, because they tend to trap those free radicals, and they come from natural resources for the most part. Vitamin C can be synthesized, but it can also come from oranges, as we know. But these are resveratrol and hydroxyl tyrosol. So resveratrol is the chemical responsible for antioxidants effect on red wine. So it's normally in dark berries in general. So red wine, grapes, blackberries, blueberries, all of those, abuse them. And also,
Oh, and here's a real quick tip I heard about blueberries. Some people are really concerned about the sugar content in fruits, but you'd have to have like 100 blueberries, and you'd only get a minuscule amount of sugar. It has phenomenal amount of antioxidants and stuff that you mentioned. So blueberries are really an awesome berry.
And sugar, when it's not refined, when it's embedded, and it's the same sugar, don't get me wrong, but when it's embedded in a fruit, you're getting so much of the benefits of the fruit, including the sugar, which is flat out energy, right? So you're getting the fiber, you're getting all those antioxidants, and you are getting that sugar, that the calorie intake that will get you going, right? So I always say, okay, yeah, blueberries have sugar, but it's much better to have even a pound of blueberries than a donut that only sugar.
Yeah, yeah, right? Absolutely. And there's way less sugar in a whole bunch. Like you probably couldn't eat the whole container of blueberries, and there'll be way less sugar in that than a donut.
But you're gonna eat those donuts easily, because you can pretty much flatten them out and they disappear. So I totally agree with that. And eat your donut from time to time. I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah. You actually should. So and then there is actually another antioxidant that I've been looking into lately, and I've been incorporating it in some of my formulations, called Bakucho. So this comes from a Chinese Indian plant. And it is a completely different chemical structure to the vitamin and the other compounds I just talked about. It doesn't actually have anything but carbon and hydrogen, which makes me believe, but it has a ton of double bonds, so we can actually like trap these infamous free radicals, which is, what are supposed to be oxidants. I don't really like the word free radical because it's a bit of a oxymoronic thing. It can't be radical.
It's radical.
Yeah. Time. It is kind of like chemically, it's not really correct, but that's the term that we're using. But as opposed to the other few that I mentioned, the byproduct that it forms does not contain anything that could potentially react adversely later, right? So because of this structure, it may be a little less efficacious, but put in the right place, the right way, because that's also very important. When you incorporate antioxidants in a formula, they have to be incorporated correctly so your skin can absorb them properly. And we may leave that for another time because I will not stop talking about that.
So basically, not all products are the same, because that's the one thing. Oh well, I've got this skincare product, I got this moisturizer, I got this, antioxidant, but they're all not the same as far as quality. And I think that's what's important, is that what you're talking about. You've mixed your products that the skin could absorb them the best and get the most beneficial results out of them.
Exactly. So when I formulate, I always try to not only find the best solvent for the actives, right? Because all these antioxidants are what they are considered actives in your skincare formula. But I also make sure that I put them in either in a solvent that will penetrate through the skin, or in combination with others that will help the penetration in the skin. And always make sure that they will not be more than one active that are going to react adversely with one another. So this is what I call the kitchen sink formulas. When I see a formula that contains everything that is going to help with your skin, I steer clear from that. And I tell people not to use it, because if they tell you that it's going to be hydrating and moisturizing and antioxidants, and it's going to prevent sagging or curative, and I'm like, okay, by the time that formula gets to your skin, all those actives have had a ton of fun in the package and probably react with one another, or they may actually they may fight for who's going to treat what when they get to the skin. So they may actually cancel each other out.
Now, is this similar to some people who tell me I took some medication for one thing and then I started to have adverse effects and had to take another medication that didn't interact with each other very well because one thing? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. A lot of medications interact with one another. Think about, like, we've always been told, be careful, don't take antibiotics when you're on the pill, right? So think about it the same way. Their chemical reactions happen. And many times one, instead of like doing the job that is meant to do when you put it there, it actually, what happens is that it's going to react with something else that was purposely introduced in the formula.
Wow. This is fascinating. Now, I know we spoke before the interview just a tad about the importance of also switching up your products from time to time, as well as having the best care products. When is it a good time when, okay, it's not as beneficial anymore, or maybe not as potent, or it could become dangerous over time? I'm guessing if it's a very natural product, it could become bad over a period of time as well.
Well, yeah. So as far as the efficacy of actives, I mean, I try to preserve my formulas as better as I can. And every time that I use antioxidants, I always put vitamin E, which is the workhorse. Vitamin E is, think about, so if we were talking about like the little warriors, so think about like your vitamin C and then your Resveratrol and the Bakucho, they are all like perfectly armed to protect you, right? And they are going to sacrifice themselves. Think about the vitamin E as the one that is like giving them the orders of what they need to do every time. And no matter what, and they is also probably going to decide which one is going to be sacrificed first. Because at the end of the day, the vitamin E will be the one living throughout all the battles, because it's protecting what's protecting you.
So it's kind of like the general of all this.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the one in command.
Okay.
So, but always, no matter what, so that will prolong the life of those antioxidants and other actives too. But there is always an expiration date. The cosmetic industry is very poorly regulated at this point. So they, as you can probably tell, I've never actually seen an expiration date on a cosmetic product because it is not a rule. You don't have to, it's not law. So, but I always say, and generally we make products to last 1 year after once they are on the shelf, right? So you calculate that there might be a couple of months where they are in a warehouse, transportation, blah, blah, blah. Once they hit the shelves, 1 year. And once you open it, I always tell people 6 months, toss it, because there might be bacterial growth that you don't see. Unlike food, we can pretty much immediately tell that something has gone bad because of the taste, right? Because of the smell. But one, you don't eat cosmetics, at least you shouldn't. And two, I highly recommend people do not try your cosmetics. And two, they tend to be so perfumed, which, is something that you called out, like, oh, I love your product because I love the scent. So scents can mask when something goes bad. So I tell people 6 months out, and in some colored cosmetics, particularly those that are going to go onto your eye, throw it away after 3 months you started using it.
Wow. It's good you mentioned that, because I had gotten a foundation a foundation type powder, and I was using it for almost past a year, and then I put it on one day and I was like, this brush smells like horrible, and I realized the powder smelled horrible, and it was probably because I'm putting always on my face. I mean,
we have bacteria normally, right? And by the way, I do not like the classification of good and bad bacteria. I don't think that there's the good guys and bad guys. I actually believe that when you have a lot of the good stuff is when it starts like fighting against you and can cause infections. I mean, obviously there's bacteria that are known for causing infections, but I just don't think
can we go over that? I'm curious, because I've heard a lot of people, especially during the COVID thing, talk about, I want to get antibacterial to kill all the bacteria. How much of killing bacteria on you is a good thing, and when is it too far? Because I also had a guest several years ago said that they were so into antibacterial stuff that their 4-year-old child, actually got a skin thing and had to have 5 surgeries because they kind of overdid it. So what's your idea? Yeah, I know.
And here's the thing. We live with bacteria. They're everywhere, and there are some that tend to cause infections, but they cause infections on us. What tells you that that same bacteria that causes an infection on us is going to cause same infection to another organism? I mean, one of the best examples is E. coli, right? It's deadly to us, but eggs have it, right? We don't, that doesn't kill them. So it is like one of those, I really don't like to classify the good and bad. To me, it's more like we need a certain amount of bacteria, different kinds that do different things in our organism. And the moment that you start having a little too much of that, they start, I wouldn't say, I don't know. I think that I remember once talking with an expert in fermentation about this, that I told him maybe they get so lazy eventually because there's really nothing to do, or they get too fattened up and they start like becoming the potato couch. And all of a sudden they just, instead of doing good to you, they just don't either do anything, or they start causing infections because there's too many of them. And that is, I believe, what happens with acne.
Really? I had super bad acne as a kid. Now,
me too.
Yeah. And now how do you make sure you get that perfect balance of the bacteria to the, too much bacteria? You any ideas?
Skin health. When you feel that your skin is healthy, when you feel that your gut is healthy, when you feel that things are working in your body, that's when you have a good balance. You have the right amount of each one of them. Skin contains a ton of bacteria that regulates the functions, that it is part of regeneration of cells. They sometimes become food for our cells. They all their processes, all of their metabolisms are have a purpose for our skin. The moment that they start doing a bit much, I mean, I'm now thinking about it a little bit, thinking out loud here, that I remember that when Japanese wanted to go on a strike, they produce more, right? Because then there's no outlet for that, for the surpluses. So that is probably what happens with bacteria. And at some point, they start, like with the acne, right? The acne, the ones that cause acne, is just because they can continue to regenerate. So they tend to accumulate in certain areas. They can't get out. And now their too much production becomes a liability because the skin is now clogged, right?
Wow. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. For me, I had the poorest diet as a teenager, and a lot of my diet was fried foods and a lot of meat products, or beef in particular. And so in my early 20s, covered in zits, I felt really self-conscious, not confident. And so I started to also get tummy aches when I ate a lot of beef and fried foods. So there was a period of time in my early 20s where I stopped eating those two things, and in 30 days my skin cleared up. And it was my body saying, okay, give me a break here. Give me, and it was for me. Yeah. For me getting rid of, yeah.
Totally. And I'm sure too that at those points, your sleep was not necessarily also all that constant, and probably not as much as you needed, right? I do remember that too. Those days where I would come home from college and eat better and get better sleep, all of a sudden I would go back to school on Monday with my skin completely clear.
Yeah. It's amazing that, you know, that you don't realize the skin and the whole body plays a big part together. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, skin is part of the body. That's what we have a tough time, right? So, you know, going back to your stomach, right? When you don't eat properly, your stomach is going to feel right away, and it's gonna let you know. So is your skin. It's just that we don't necessarily associate it all that well. My skin looks terrible when I don't get a good sleep. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the puffiness and all that jazz. Well,
and I even feel that it's drier, and I can see my lines and wrinkles a lot more.
Yes, very true. Well, you know, we could go on forever because it's such a fascinating topic. And you know what? I don't think people realize everything is interconnected on the body. They interplay together. The stuff we put in it, the stuff, the environment. It's just so fascinating. But I don't want people to leave without finding out how they can get their very own products, find out more about you, let them know how they can do that again.
All right. Thank you so much. But before we get into that, I'm going to tell you the very last antioxidant that I want people to be aware of, which is vitamin A. I know that people are very familiar with vitamin A. And one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of it is because I always have to put a big disclaimer on, be careful, because vitamin A can cause a lot of effects to different people. And the biggest problem with vitamin A is that you will not see the day after. So if you're going to get ready for an event, a wedding, I don't know, whatever it is, something that you have to share to show your better face, try the vitamin A product 2 weeks in advance, because it may creep. The adverse effects may creep up on you the day off, even though you applied it like 3 days before.
Whoa.
So with that, but it is a great ingredient. It's not only an antioxidant, it actually promotes the production of collagen. It's supposed to also be restorative for cells. It kind of like kickstarts your cells, your skin cells a bit, which is why it can cause a lot of irritation. So always watch out with vitamin A, which people also know as retinol, right? So
what's it called? They know it as what?
Vitamin A or retinol.
Retinol. Now, is that part of beta carotene, or is that something different?
It is actually the one that is derived from what we found in carrots, right?
Oh, okay. I thought they were similar.
Yeah. So, as far as products go, always follow steps, and please go to my website again, drmpactivate.com. And there is a ton of tips and tricks on steps, on what to use, on how to incorporate antioxidants. And if you can't find it, please reach out to me, and I will make sure that you get a good education on how to incorporate antioxidants and other protective actives into your skin care routine.
Awesome. And they can contact you on a form page on your website?
Yeah, there's a form page on my website. Yes.
Awesome. So everyone go to drmtactivate.com to find out more today. And I just have to thank you again, Dr. Pazos, for coming to share your great wisdom. It was a blast chatting with you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina. I'm always so happy to talk with you, especially about skincare.
I know.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.